Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Depends where you are domiciled in this world. From my location, I shall welcome you this wonderful evening for this a wonderful program. Please, I urge you to welcome one another to join us so we can be able to move forward with our program this wonderful evening. So please, if you never like or share the program, I urge you to like and also to share the program so other people will join us as we continue to answer the question from IPOB or those who claim that UN will come to answer them. That Mazen Kanu told that UN will come and that UN will come to conduct referendum for them. This is 21st century. Why are we trying to deceive those who could not be able to reach to internet and lie to them? And wow, Mommy Margaret, good evening, all the way from Finland. We are coming to that. Wow, good evening as you continue to protect the mandate. Thank you so much, all the way from Finland. I salute all of you. I greet all of you. Thank you so much for doing us proud. And also thank you so much to standing on existing protocol, how we can restore Biafra as our own full nation. That is where you are, and the freedom of Simon Ibanjok and Nnamdi Kanu. I appreciate you, I thank you, and I greet all of you who are in Finland creating awareness for US declared for the world to know that Simon Ebanjoko is a prime minister of United States of Biafra, that he is fighting for Biafra under legal. He is fighting to restore a lost nation under the law of the international community of Montevideo Convention, Geneva Convention, Vienna Convention, and the UN Charter, and all existing outline protocol. I thank you so much. For those who will join us this evening, please, I want you to touch the like button. I want to touch the like button. So I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you, Mommy Margaret. I thank you so much for standing to protect this mandate at all costs. Also, I thank you for signing to be a grandmother, a founding mother, with the name of US declared as your own nation. I thank you for all you do. I appreciate you. And also, I thank Ozil and every Biafrans that's made it to be in Finland in the solidarity for Simon Ibanjoko, the Prime Minister. And also I want to thank all those who still stand on to prove to Alexander Stubb that all he said about Simon about his lie, that he is a prime minister who fought for a nation, a lost nation, through a legal means of forming government in exile and proving a full structure of government that can rule a nation. On that note, I thank you, Mama Margaret. Honestly, I can't stop thanking you. I see you, Amadi Chigozie. I see you, Ozi, my brother. I thank all of you. Please, as you join me, please share and like the program, as you also send your greetings to those that are in Finland in pure solidarity for Batobie, those who are seriously creating this awareness. I thank you as you are doing so. May Elohim protect you. May Elohim guide you. May Elohim bring you safe and sound back to the way you domicile in this world that you left to join Finland to protest on behalf of our Prime Minister, Simon Ebanjoko. Thank you to you all. So please, if you join us, I urge you to like and share the program. Those on the TikTok, I want you to like and share the program also. As you join us, don't just watch. Please like and share as we are moving this evening. We are be handling the two things together. Those on today, my senior comrade Mazi Kai and many of Biafran's platform has been showing the protest all along. That is why today I made this evening to also, as they have already done that one, let me continue to the question I am answering IPOB and all Biafrans. Anybody who want Biafra, who thinks Biafra will come through this. Wow. Wow, this is a wonderful night. Go choose 042. Where have you been? I thought we offended Go choose. We never see him. I keep on looking for comment from, because this is those who encourage us to build this page. This is those who did what? They also encouraged me to stand on this page. Go choose 042. My hands on my head. I welcome you. I greet you. Mazi, I am happy to see you. I hope that all is well. Thank you so much. Thank you. This evening, we are answering the question of those who is undermining the truth of our country. The only way to achieve Biafra as a nation. For those who is undermining this truth, and all those who are claiming that are from IPOB, calling for self-referendum, you are going to hear something that will shock you this night. UN, EU, AU that they're hoping for have never forced any country in this world to come and conduct referendum because of that their leader was sentenced to life imprisonment. Also, that their people has been pied and being killed and being massacred and being persecuted. You will never come. And our own is not going to be different. I'm going to prove to you this night some countries in the world, and you will hear that UN has never forced any country in this world that they must conduct referendum for them. It never happened in this world, and it cannot see also happen. Because these people never understand that everything has an existing protocol. That the only way UN can answer right now is only US declared. Is only through what? Through United States of Biafra declared. Is the only way that UN can answer us. Without USB, UN can never in this life answer any call or talk anything about us. That is why after our peaceful declaration, UN have the right and every other country today to talk about Biafra as a nation. We are answering this question. Yesterday, we answered to him, the IPOB, that the only way to achieve Biafra is through government in exile. And he said that we should approve to him one country that is through government in exile, that all the cabinet members, even the prime minister was in exile, that is how they achieved their nation. And yesterday, I was able to prove to 4 countries to him. I bring 2 from Europe, 2 from Africa, that the leaders was incarcerated. And the only way they achieved their lost nation or redeclared their country is via through what? The only government in exile. That all the cabinet members are in exile. No one is the homeland. No single one is the homeland. So I have proved that yesterday to this Okoko, this old fool. So this evening, I want to prove that UN is not coming without usually declared. Because the truth that you undermining will keep on hurting you and keep on disgracing you. The truth you undermining will keep on making you feel like you become stupid. You look stupid in the eyes of the international law. That is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. This truth that you undermining will hurt all of you, and that is why you will know at last. Na abarosia ngele ekru ngele nwụọ. Na na-agba ukwu ose okiri ma adịghị arị ya elu. So, my people, as you join us on TikTok, please like and share the program if you can do so. Please like and share, and also follow us for more updates and more information to you. It's very, very important if you can do so. So, based on that, this evening, we are moving fastly for you to understand what we have to do. So, quickly listen to this audio. Listen to this video from the homeland. Listen to this. And that's our headline is Ipob organization and all Biafrans, UN, EU, never force referendum for any country. Check history. And he said that we should check history and tell him. So I am here. I have checked the history, like I said, that my DPM is too big to answer you. That I am here to answer Okoko like you. Remember that Finland, something is going on in Finland. Hashtag Finland, free Nnamdi Kanu. Hashtag Finland, free Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister. And hashtag Nigeria government, free Nnamdi Kanu. Our sister who is in Finland, Mama Margaret, she is there and also commenting this wonderful evening that the world must know that they kept a leader who is fighting to restore a nation through legal way by the purely the language of the international community and their guidelines and their law by what? Government in exile. So I urge you this evening, please, as you join us, as you listen to the audio, remember hashtag Finland, free Simon Ekpa, the ESN. So let's proceed. Listen to this. Please, if you're hearing the audio, let me know, please. So if you're hearing his voice from this video, let me know, please. Are you hearing the audio? Are you hearing his voice?
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, the children of the Most High God. Shalom, the people of the land of Bethlehem. Shalom, the children of Abraham. Thank you very much. We have a message to pass to the world from our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Hamadike of Africa. Shalom.
Please, I hope you can hear his voice. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And they say, I shall pass this message and to deliver now to Biafrans all over the world. Shalom.
Number one, ask him, did he went by himself to visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? To be the first question. As he gotten the message. Ask this criminal who was a governor under Obatobie. After election, he is no longer a governor that turned back today to fight against us, against what we declared. Ask him, did you went to prison in Sokoto to visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and he passed the message to you to come and pass to the world? The only thing they know is how to use Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to become relevant and how to also to make the Biafran people. Now, listen to the message.
We are standing in loyalty and respect to our leader. I want everybody to stand up to the end of this speech. Shalom. Our supreme leader is in prison. And for that, we owe him that respect to stand up and listen to his message. Message to the people in government. He is the leader of over 80 million Biafrans all over the world. And his words are supreme. His words are what? What did I say? Yes. He's the only leader we know in Biafran land. Those anywhere the group of people that call themselves politicians We are not rejected. Shalom. We don't care of what they do. We are not here for stomach infrastructure business. We are not here to negotiate with people and they know what about Shalom. As far as our leader is in touch, we are not in touch. Shalom. I thank Nigeria to do anything against our leader. The killing is will come tomorrow. I really believe they cannot threaten us. They cannot do us. We are indigenous people of Biafra. This land is given to us by Almighty God. Our forefathers inherited this land. Therefore, Fulani is over 1,000 kilometers away from where we are. Yoruba from over 1,000 kilometers away from where we are. Hausa and their Toros from 1,000 kilometers away from where we are. Cannot dictate for us how we will live. We have rights to freedom. Freedom is our right. Both locally and internationally, we have rights for what? And nobody, born a woman on earth, will detect for us how we will live. Blessings to have not done anything for these people. They took our gas, they took our crude oil, they took our gold, they took our silver, they took our silver, they also took our limestone and gold. We never discovered them. We don't have army, we don't have police, we don't have navy, we don't have air force. Yet, they recruited criminals, they recruited terrorists. Put on the side, all the brothers in our land today, your problem are occupied by criminals. Terrorists. They kill our people anyhow. I said nobody will talk. We talk, we will die. We don't talk, we will die. Shalom. Our supreme leader ordered us that every unit must go back to meeting. Every unit must go out. Every unit must go back to meeting. Our supreme leader has instructed us that the referendum we are going to do with the supervised by EU, and UN. Shalom. And the referendum will be conducted by all the citizens. Where all the citizens will participate. Shalom. Shalom. Let me tell you, Referendum. You see that government that is existing in telephone. It is only when you open telephone that you will see it. When you close the telephone, it does not exist anymore. We are not part of it. If you can convince me by telling me any country in the world as a sovereign nation that their ministers and prime ministers are dwelling in 6 other continents in the world, if you mention one, we will drop our decision. In the contrary, we are not part of the telephone government. Yes. Are you hearing me? Yes. We are under one affordable compulsion for our leader. There will be a referendum for Biafras. Are you hearing me? Our leader said that Biafras, the homeland will decide how they will govern themselves after the referendum. Are you hearing me? The people will decide who will not govern them. As it was done over other African countries. So it shall be here. Shalom. Any message that does not emanate from our supreme leader is fake. It's wrong. Very wrong. It says, when under the first administration of the ONG,
Yes, you have had him right. And the throwback to program of yesterday, you know that we have proved to him, he said that we should show him one country in Africa that the way they achieve their country is by government in exile. And you are here yesterday when I proved to him those many countries that have achieved their own, only way is government in exile. He mentioned one, but I bring four for him. And today, I'm also going to prove to him that the UN that they are calling from here is not coming. That even a law also prohibits UN to come to answer organization. And because of organization like IPOB, to ask Nigeria that they must accept conduct referendum, or that they have come to supervise between us and Nigeria. It's just, they are just dreaming. They are just, they always find a way they want to use to make our people. That is why the only message of our leader is that we should fall back to pulling units where to our units where we have been contributing money from the 2011. That we have started contributing money for the name of the IPOB organization. And after contributing this money, they will swallow the money. And because of that is the only business they have. And that's how they laid their hand in money did not work. That is why the only thing he can come back to tell you that our spirit leader told him that everybody should fall back and ask him, did you went to Sokoto prison? And Mazen Kano told that the only thing you can do is to start meeting again. The meeting Mazen Kano has cancelled because of the level of killing that Nigeria always come to where people gathered and they arrest them and buy some people. And he always send the message by saying, stop anything concerning meeting of IPOB in the homeland. Is it not true? And today, he wants people to go by because that is the only way he can make money into what he's claiming that he's doing. So as you have listened to this particular section of asking this question, now, today we are going to answer the question of what? Of if UN can even answer organization like IPOB at all. You're going to find out today if UN can answer IPOB with self-referendum or to come and supervise referendum or to choose it for us to conduct referendum for Biafran people. That is one thing that we are going to find out this wonderful evening. But before I do so, I will first play the program of yesterday that will take up your mind to today's program to answer the question we're about to answer this evening, because I said I am here to answer the question you asked my DPM, who is very busy. So I am here to answer you. That because of she's busy, she doesn't have time to answer. So I want to answer the question for you and also prove to you that UN can never answer IPOB organization. That UN can never come because of IPOB organization and other Nigeria to do referendum. Rather, they will stand with Nigeria and Nigeria will buy us if not for UN declared the only legal part that end the killings, the massacre of the indigenous people of Biafra today. That is the areas that are very important that we are going to look at it today. So you can also hear about those that has been there before us. That no matter how there was being fight, how there was being genocide, that UN on their own never answered them. I said what? That the UN on their own never answers such people. Talk less of you. If you are thinking that UN will answer you because of what? Because your name of organization is IPOB organization, you are dreaming. I said what? You are dreaming and deceiving yourself. The area you wake up from this dream is the area you will realize what needed to be done at this time that we are into. That the only thing that we have to do to achieve our own nation is only through United States of Biafra government is the only way. There is no other way around. So that is why we are here this evening. So let us check the history first, like he said, and refresh your mind before we proceed on this wonderful evening. So please bear with me as I change into today's program fully. The only thing I urge you is to like the message and share so other people will come to join us and they understand what we are doing. That we are not here for propaganda, but we are here with evidence at hand. Fact and figures is what I am trying to present to answer this question. Not hearsay, not how I feel, not what I think, not I look like this is how it's supposed to be, but from the horse's mouth direct and where all questions are being answered. That is what I'm going to this evening. So, calling of UN, you should know that even calling UN was one of the most hardest ways to achieve a lost nation. For Biafran people, in our own case, to call UN to answer, they will never answer. The only way they can answer is through government in exile, that they will be afraid of to sue them. So that is why every country and the world are running around to know what to do. So at this stage we are into, I only say this word: do not panic, do not move, no matter how they bring the shenanigan. So listen to this wonderful session of the program of yesterday to refresh the mind of all of them before we transition to the new one. Listen to this.
In public international law and diplomatic history, a government in exile is a political group that claims to be a country's legitimate governing authority, unable to exercise legal power within its state territory due to occupation, annexation, civil conflict, or exile. When an entire executive structure, including the president, prime minister, and cabinet members, operates from abroad and issues peaceful redeclarations of state sovereignty or continuity, their ability to gain international recognition relies heavily on diplomatic relations with host states, multilateral organizations such as the African Union or European bodies, and historic principles of legal non-recognition, ex injuria jus non oritur. Key historical examples: 1. The Estonian government in exile, 1940 to 1992. Structure and location. Following the Soviet occupation of Estonia, the constitutional executive structure, led by the acting president, prime minister in exile and cabinet, was established abroad, primarily in Oslo, Norway, and Stockholm, Sweden. Peaceful redeclarations. The government in exile continuously published peaceful declarations maintaining the legal continuity, de jure, of the Republic of Estonia under the 1938 Constitution. Recognition, Europe and global. Major European powers, including the UK, France, and West Germany, and the US, maintained policy decisions enforcing the non-recognition of Soviet annexation, recognizing Estonian diplomatic representations continuously until independence was restored in 1991-1992. 2. Polish government in exile, 1939 to 1990. Structure and location. Headquartered in London, United Kingdom after the 1939 invasion. It preserved a complete executive branch, President, Prime Minister, and Council of Ministers. Declarations and recognition. Issued declarations asserting Polish legal continuity and peaceful democratic governance. It enjoyed widespread international recognition across Europe and Africa during World War II, and preserved recognition from several sovereign states for decades after the war, until transferring its legal insignias to the newly elected Polish president in 1990. 3. Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, 1958 to 1962. Structure and location. Formed in Cairo, Egypt, and later based in Tunis, Tunisia, with a designated president, Fahad Abbas, later Ben Youssef Ben Khedda, and executive ministers. Peaceful proclamations and diplomacy. While representing a liberation struggle, the GPRA issued formal political declarations outlining a peaceful transitional path to statehood and international engagement. Recognition, Africa and beyond. Received immediate official diplomatic recognition from numerous African nations, the Arab League, and Asian states, establishing precedent for exiled executive bodies securing recognition prior to full territorial control. 4. Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, Executive, Polisario, 1976, present. Structure and location. The executive branch, including the President, Prime Minister, and Council of Ministers, operates largely out of exile from the Tindouf camps in Algeria. Declarations and Recognition, Africa. The SADR issued its peaceful re-declarations of sovereignty and statehood, securing full diplomatic recognition from the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1982, and gaining full membership in the African Union, AU. Over 80 nations globally, primarily in Africa and Latin America, have extended diplomatic recognition at various points. Core criteria for exiled governments securing recognition requirement, description, constitutional continuity, demonstrating a legal link to the previous constitutional order, e.g. elected president, prime minister, host state support, securing sovereign consent and legal immunity within the host nation where the cabinet resides, diplomatic engagement, maintaining legations, issuing formal declarations, and participating in bilateral or multilateral summits, e.g. AU or European forums. Principle of non-recognition. Foreign states relying on international norms against territorial conquest to recognize the exiled government over an occupying force. Would you like to explore a specific legal framework, such as the Montevideo Convention criteria or African Union legal protocols, regarding how exiled executive bodies maintain diplomatic relations today?
Have we answered the question? I think we have refreshed your mind on the program of yesterday. How he asked for one, and we give him 4. Now they said that UN should come. Yes, our brother Igede's son, I know this is you. It simply means United Nations is UN that they are calling. And I'm here to present to you, like as I did just now, when he asked her that our DPM should show them one country, that the only how they achieve their country is through government in exile, that the prime minister and all the cabinet members, even the president was in another man's country. That is how they govern their people. So he said we should show him that if we prove one to him, that he will stop his agitation. And he said 1. When you ask for 1, they give you 4. Is it not okay? When you ask for one thing and they give you 4, I don't want to be happy. So, and I hope you can understand we have answered his question. Now we are moving, if UN can come with the name of Ipob, one family. I remember UN or Gabia because of it. Let's find out. So I see everyone in the comment section. Which one? God, I see you, Chris, Biafran son. You are with us this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. NDBC Minor Sec, I see you. Thank you so much for coming. Coaches, thank you. Amaji Gozie, all of you, Ozil, those one my great. I greet all of you and I welcome all of you. Igeda is greet you. One other name, I greet you so much. Ushan and my brother, I greet you. Now let us find out if UN that they are pointing, calling, claiming will ever come, because of how the government is being our people and how things are moving right now. So let us find out as I play this audio right now. So listen from here.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. 1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU, often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations. Severe conflict or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar cases, looking at major historical conflicts involving imprisoned leaders and independence movements, shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroon.
Are you hearing
The
it?
situation.
Listen,
In
you.
2019, Sisiku
Well,
Julius
IPOB,
Ayuk
one
Tabe,
family,
leader of
UN
the
will come
movement in
referendum.
exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict. UN-EU per astronomical unit action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum because the central government of Cameroon did not consent to one, and no binding UN Security Council resolution was passed. Case 2, Catalonia, Spain. The situation.
I hope you are
Following
listening.
an unauthorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, ranging up to 13 years by Spanish courts. UN-EU action. The European Union treated the issue strictly as an internal domestic matter under Spain's constitution. The EU did not call for a referendum, nor did it intervene in the judicial sentences. Case 3, South Sudan, 2011, and East Timor, 1999. The situation. Both territories experienced severe military conflict, human rights abuses, and the arrest/targeting of independence leaders over decades. How the referendum happened. In both cases, the referendums were not automatically triggered by the arrests of leaders or human rights violations alone. Instead, years of international diplomatic pressure compelled the host states, Sudan and Indonesia respectively, to sign formal peace accords, e.g., Sudan's 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the May 5, 1999 New York Agreements for East Timor, which explicitly provided for a UN-monitored referendum. Summary. While the imprisonment of executive leaders and documented violence against a civilian population creates strong international diplomatic pressure in human rights cases, they do not legally force the UN, EU, or AU to conduct a referendum. An internationally supervised referendum only becomes possible when international diplomatic pressure leads to either a binding UN Security Council resolution or a signed political agreement/peace accord where the state exercising physical control over the territory consents to the vote.
I hope you are listening. Maganin, onye ndu gwara anyị aga-conduct referendum. You need to Zuzugara this 21st century. But I will not say much word for now. I will allow the audio to play one more again. So as we analyze it, so you can also comment through comment section. And those who join us, please like, share, subscribe. This is USB Research TV. So I urge you to do what? Share, like, and subscribe on our page.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. 1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU, often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations. Severe conflict or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar cases? Looking at major historical conflicts involving imprisoned leaders and independence movements shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroon. The situation. In 2019, Sisiku Julius Ayuk Tabe, leader of the movement in exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict. UN-EU per astronomical unit action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum because the central government of Cameroon did not consent to one, and no binding UN Security Council resolution was passed. Case 2, Catalonia, Spain. The situation: following an unauthorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, ranging up to 13 years by Spanish courts. UN-EU action. The European Union treated the issue strictly as an internal domestic matter under Spain's constitution. The EU did not call for a referendum, nor did it intervene in the judicial sentences. Case 3, South Sudan 2011, and East Timor 1999. The situation: both territories experienced severe military conflict, human rights abuses, and the arrest/targeting of independence leaders over decades. How the referendum happened. In both cases, the referendums were not automatically triggered by the arrests of leaders or human rights violations alone. Instead, years of international diplomatic pressure compelled the host states, Sudan and Indonesia respectively, to sign formal peace accords, e.g., Sudan's 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the May 5, 1999 New York Agreements for East Timor, which explicitly provided for a UN-monitored referendum. Summary: while the imprisonment of executive leaders and documented violence against a civilian population creates strong international diplomatic pressure in human rights cases, they do not legally force the UN, EU, or AU to conduct a referendum. An internationally supervised referendum only becomes possible when international diplomatic pressure leads to either a binding UN Security Council resolution or a signed political agreement/peace accord where the state exercising physical control over the territory consents to the vote.
Why are we doing this? Or why the program might sound boring to you is because of this what we have been missing. This is why we have never found an answer to many questions. This is why we have never understand what is missing. And the world made it openly to us that what is missing is always inside a document where we cannot be able to find solution to our problem. But I always remain thankful and grateful to Simon Ebanjoko, to Donguzora Beze, that at this time, that after Mazakan was kidnapped, Atabato put us on the legal path, how to achieve our own nation. And I also always remember to my DPM, Dr. Ngozora Beze, the one who made us have a legal document, that nobody will query us or refuse to listen to us anymore. That is what I want to understand this evening. You remember the video I played for you, where the Okoko said that Mazakan told him that the EU, UN, AU will come to conduct referendum. And I shout to IPOB, one family, it now ended. And they could not ask themselves, what you are claiming, where has that happened before in this world? They could not bring an example of what they are saying. And he said that the issue of referendum happened many places in Africa. And when you ask him to present to the Africa where it happened, Sudan was in exile when they are fighting. Ambazonia leaders was in exile in Nigeria. The one from Spain, they also in exile today. And you find out that those that even that South Sudan, the East Timor, that has been able that UN conduct a self-referendum, they was in exile and have a full structure of government in exile. They also issued the declaration of their lost country, even though they decided they want to go through referendum finally. If there is no government in exile structure of all the full cabinet members, there will be never a time UN will call for referendum or even to supervise, or they do not have power to call it and to give you date or to mandate Nigeria to accept referendum. Look at history here. That's why when I come here, I give you fact and figure. I am not here to analyze something I know, how I feel, what I want. That is not why I am here. I am here to present to you, like the question he asked. When he asked a question, that our DPM, or that we should show him one country that have been able to achieve their country, that their prime minister is in exile, the cabinet members is in exile, and all their ministers. And he asked for one. I provided 4. And if that 4 wasn't enough for him, ask him to do more something, and I will provide more for him. And also today, we are talking about what? About UN's referendum and the process and the criteria to that. If that will happen, IPOB with their name is not even under the criteria. The only criteria is usually declared with a full government structure. Because DOS is not a government structure. DOS is not under the international norms and their guidelines. They are not there at all for 1 minute. That is why we need to know the truth. And the truth has set us free. If that wasn't enough, that is also the reason why that you don't have to lack the knowledge of history. Once you lack knowledge of history, you look stupidity. The stupidity will lead you to ignorance of the law. And we cannot achieve Biafra without going through the process of law and all the existing protocol that proving that this is how we can achieve it, like Algeria, Namibia, South Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and all of them in Africa, Tunisia, all of them. That is one thing that people refuse to understand. But that is why I'm always happy that I have a government who understands the way to achieve Biafra nation without even one bullet on ground, through a diplomatic movement. Please, I ask you, if you are watching us from TikTok, we want you to like our page and also follow us for more. So please, in order to do that. So, listen. To find out the truth. There is no time for lies anymore. He said that, that the UN conducted many African countries referendum, that we are going to conduct it the same way that it was happening in many African countries. And listen to this. Is it this UN, EU, and EU that the history is out there in archive? That people have been concocting stories the way they feel, what they want, and how they feel, try to change narrative to do what will suit them, so Biafrans can be able to contribute money and also give to them. The truth is, no country in this world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or force an international supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because the state violence occurred. Even to the extent of the state violence, nation violence, like how Nigeria is violating our rights under the name of IPOB organization. And there is no country in this world that the UN just all the way from the office and landed and said, we are here, we want to give you 5 days to prepare for referendum mandate. You had it here that it has never happened before in the whole world. Do you also know, I'm going to prove to you since days are coming, that through that if we try to look for this Biafra to referendum, it can never come. The most hardest way is harder way of protest and the referendum. It's not in fact, those who are championing for that are all big fools. There is no country in this world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically call for or force an international supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international law community, UN, EU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation slowly as a legal consequences of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. Are you hearing it? That there is no amount of being pious, no amount of what we think that we are doing that will lead you to come. The day will never come. You heard it, he said, there is no amount of jailing of this jailed or civilians being killed is the reason why UN will come. Are you hearing it? This is the truth and fact and figure. Now, how? Why no such automatically mechanism in existence from the UN? International law bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, bracket 7 of the UN Charter prohibits UN to mandate Nigeria that they must choose a date for, they must accept referendum because Massacre is in prison and many Biafras has been by. They said no, they will never come, that the law prohibits them, that the case is just an internal matter of Nigeria government. Our own case is peculiar. Hey, our case is so peculiar. Because of what? We have never stand on existing protocol. We have never stand on the law. We have been doing mushi. We have been proving stupidity and everything. That's what we have been proving. That is what IPOB is improving to today. I sincerely want you to look at this as we proceed. Imagine the world, there is no amount of civil killing that will lead UN to force Nigeria to grant us recognition or to come and conduct a referendum. Can't you hear it? Are you hearing it clearly? Because this is the fact. This is the truth that's having, Onyendu said, the UN will come, and EU will come, AU will come, and conduct referendum for us. They will supervise how, where. What is the criteria for AU, UN, EU to come? Do you have it? The answer is no, because you are a pure organization. As we proceed, you will hear when they call them what organization. Sentence of leaders, where a political or independent leader is arrested and give life sentence, the national law bodies such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU often issue a formal condemnation demanding fair trial or calling to political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to tag and the authority referendum as a penalty. I hope you are listening. You heard it clearly that whether human rights, whether whatever you do, that they will never answer to come and conduct referendum and say Nigeria, you must accept it too. That the other people say that. No, you must stand on the protocol. You must stand on the legal path. You must do what others pass through. There is no shortcut to restore this Biafras nation. We must stand on all this protocol. That is the only reason why is the only way we can achieve our nation. That is how other countries achieve their own. Now, am I sending a message to him? Am I answering his question of that UN will come, conduct referendum, EU will come, AU will come? Now, if you are following me, are we answering the question clearly? I want you to tell me from the comment section. Are we answering the old fool his questions and those who are around him there? Please.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum
hear the
simply
word
because a leader was
force.
arrested, sentenced to life
They will not do
imprisonment,
it.
or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. 1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU, often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations. Severe conflict or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar... Looking at major historical conflicts involving leaders and independence movements shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroon. The situation. In 2019, Sisiku Julius Ayuk Tabe, leader of the movement in exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict. UN-EU per astronomical unit action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum because the central...
Now, as we are proceeding, you start hearing the example of those simply mean that Ambazonia leaders was in exile in Nigeria. Like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be in exile in Kenya before he was being kidnapped. Like Obatobi Simon Ekpa be in exile in Finland before he was being arrested. And today we are protesting in Finland to release our prime minister who is saving the life of the indigenous people of Biafra. Because people will think it's just, oh, like you had that Okoko calling for UN to come, and he's in the village. Now, when it's come to sign the papers that we are hearing here, the peace accord and the diplomatic document, is it where that place he is when they will come and meet him? And can any organization like Ipob went to Canada sign peace accord? No, it must a well-structured government in exile that must surely assign peace accord, not Ipob organization. And the government in exile must to be that one that have issued what? A peaceful redeclaration of a lost nation with a full, look at the word, they said, with a full member of ministers and cabinet members. Not where one person is a secretary, he's a ATM, he's a prime minister, and all of them. Not like that. Can you see the picture clearly? Unusually declare the only way to restore Biafra as a nation that has already restored it, waiting for recognition in a due time for the world to grant us our international recognition. Sentence of leaders. When a political or independent leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international law bodies such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU often issue a formal condemnation demanding fair trial or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to tag and automatically referendum as a penalty against the state, against that state. You see why you are not talking about Masin and kind of official and every other thing after already declaration. Okay. Go choose, I see you. Thank you for that comment. So, when you listen to this program and this, what is going on, and look at the video I played, those who are in the village, in the field, and calling for UN. Now, UN really talking about the UN you are really talking about is the same human being like me and you. Yes. No, it's for those who are calling UN. Those who are calling EU, AU will come. That the Onions has give order to fall back to the pulling to the unit to start meeting again. And those we are calling the law of the UN Charter Article 2 in bracket 7 prohibit them to come and other Nigeria. Oh, you hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you kidnapped him. You see why that nobody will talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu except it will be declared. Anything that we are seeing that happening today is just a mere formality story. What they are doing. Let us not just say we are keeping silent. That's what it's all about. Nothing more than that. Human rights violation, several conflicts, or a state violation, often targeting international sentence, peacekeeping, deployment, or legal investigation by the International Criminal Court, ICJ. However, organizing a referendum requires either UN Security Council resolution or a single multilateral peace treaties, or to sign this peace treaty involving states in control. Are you hearing it? What is that? What the state in control? Nigeria still control their territory, where they think is their territory, until we achieve our territory back from their hands after our official recognition is coming fast approaching. Now, on that note, you see that the UN is not coming in and they made it openly that they don't have the power. They only have the power when a government in exile has sued them and asked them why are they delayed. So when USB will be able to hold UN accountability to what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or Biafrans is in due time, as it's coming fast approaching. I said what? I said it's coming fast approaching. It's only USB can hold them and stop them. So for those who are calling UN, Netanyahu, Donald Trump, they are not coming because there is a existing protocol. There is a law. And because of this, that's why they were keeping silent, because we have been into an organization that cannot be able to defend us until US really declared the only way to defend the indigenous people of Biafra, like it or not, is only through what US really declared is the only way to achieve our lost nation. Number 2, rely on world president what actually happened in Somalia. Yes, some cases. Looking at a major historical conflict involving imprisoned leader and independent movement shows how international law was applied in everything. Now, how? Number 1, case 1, Ambazonia, Southern Cameroon. Are you hearing it? Don't think about Ambazonia, for they had there before us. Is it not true? And the UN has never come to answer them after all the massacre. And you cannot look at them and say, why you never come? Then why are they not coming? Why can't you ask? Why are they not coming? The reason why they're not coming is what I'm giving to you this evening, or this night, this month, depending on where you're watching from. The case of Ambazonia is a very well-noted case. Now, the situation. In 1918, Suzuki Julius Ayukube, leader of the movement in exile, were in exile. The leader of the movement of Ambazonia, Julius, was in exile where in Nigeria. What happened? of the movement exile and the 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing conflict. Yes, are you hearing it? I hope it's making sense to you right now that those who are championing UN is not coming anywhere. It's only that USB is the one to drag them down without wasting time. Only USA declared. The only government is what can drag UN on that. That is why they are running head this time around. Because what has been declared is the legal part, and nobody can sue anybody for it. Honestly, you see USB that you are doubting is going to hurt you at last. You're going to cry Diana at last. You see how case of Amazonia. For Amazonia, have UN called to say, okay, Cameroon, you arrested the first one, you arrested the second one, this one in Nigeria, you sentenced him, the other one is in Norway. For that reason, we are going to ask you, Cameroon, you must accept referendum for the Amazonia to exit. They said it does not concern UN. Because of their law, their hands are very tight. They don't want to do it. UN, EU, AU action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly demand the violence called for immediate case. What? Ceasefire. If we decided, oh, the way is to go through what? To go Glasgow. If we're going to that way, like, let me ask you a question. The one who went to Glasgow in 1970, did they recognize? The answer is no. Now, out of this time around, go look at the case of Amazonia. After all the buy, the case that appears here. So, honestly, my people, if you never like the program, please endeavor to like and share. Those on YouTube, those on TikTok, please like and share also, please. Now, let's proceed. Remember, we are under the case of what? Amazonia. I want you to look at it and see it. On about UN, self-referendum. UN has no power to conduct or issue a referendum date for you. You are the one to call them. You are the one to petition them. When you petition them, if that is what you want, through government in exile. But without the government in exile, UN, EU, AUs go nowhere. It's not by gra. It's not by this is what Indu said. No. And the EU reportedly demanded the violence called for an immediate ceasefire, and the urge and argue that inclusive the political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced to build what? Referendum to Nigerian government. No, you had it here. They did not have any force, any power to call it to ask Nigeria. You must have prepared for referendum. Which day do you accept it? Or this date you're going to use it for them. That is thing that we refuse to understand. That is areas that we are lacking. That is why you see Ipob messing up everywhere today. Our people have been sentenced to life imprisonment. Many boys are in prison because of the name of Ipob. That was Nigerian to see that champion Ipob give them power to maintain that this is a terrorist organization. I hope you are hearing it clearly. However, no international body called for or force a building referendum to Nigerian government, or they are possible, because the entire government of the Cameroon did not consent to one, and no building UN Security Council resolution was passed. Are you hearing it? Is it that there is a law and there is a criteria There is a process to undergo. If you said what we want is referendum, and how do we don't want it because of what? We have done it peacefully. We want to prove to them that all men has equal rights. That is why they must accept you to declared a referendum vote. They must do it at this stage that we are into. So, as we proceed, I hope you have heard case of Amazonia. And have they called UN to come? The answer is no. So, you know why I am very happy? Because I am on the side of legal part. That's why I said our DPM, our DPM is what? Legal. Why IPOB represent illegality? These are what we need to know. That is what is lacking in our case. So let us play the voice again so you can listen carefully.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. 1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the
UK has banned IPOB. It's not today, it's been long, but they hide it from us. But the day I will come for that program, I will make it a full program so we understand how UK ban IPOB. And I told you, the map of the British and UK was at Biafra by 2040. And if you come out on the street of the UK to protest, they will arrest you and give you to the Nigerian government. That is how they want to silence the movement. That is how they want to destroy everything. But Chukwuka Abiyama said no. At every time, somebody must carry on. It's very, very imperative that we all understand it clearly. It's not by gra-gra. It's not by what I think. It's not by what I know. It is by the legal means and how every other nation achieved their own. We must undergo every process. We must pass through. There is no shortcut to restore Biafra as a nation. Even the only shortcut is usually declared. Government in exile is the only shortcut. If we have bypassed government in exile for 12 years of IPOB and a process of 14 years, under Mazana and Kano, the case could have been over by now. It's very, very important that you understand, you know the value of what you have and how that can save us. I hope you are following. So, we have understand clearly. I have understand that UN can never answer in our own case. That what they will answer is through government in exile, one-on-one talk. Do you understand it? This is how it goes. So that is why I want us to remain resolute on side of usually declared, and also those in front to still remain in solidarity with Simon Ebanjoko. He is our man. He is our prime minister, the good guy in question. So as we are proceeding to the program, now you have heard of Amazonia. I ask you, do you know about Amazonia? Do you know how many years of their struggling and all their leader was incarceration till today? I hope you understand. And you had it here that overseas cabinet members was arrested in Nigeria and being represented to what? To Cameroon. Sentence of leaders. When political of independent leaders is arrested and give a life sentence, the national law bodies such as the UN, Human Rights Council, Amnesty and international law, or or AU often issue formally consideration demanding fair trial or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to tag an automatic referendum as a penalty against the state. That UNA, where they don't have the authority, the legal authority, even Nigeria, that they must conduct self-referendum. That must conduct referendum for us. The people will be there messing up, refuse to adhere to the truth, and when you give them the truth, they will shy away from it. Do you understand it? We proceed. Remember the case of Amazonia. Now, where are we going to? The case of Catalonia in Spain. These are those who have been there before us. Do you also know today that Catalonia is still in exile? The situation following an authorized 2017 referendum. Several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, regarding up to 13 years by Spanish courts. Are you hearing it? You see why the Nigerian government was having right to do whatever they are doing to you, because they refuse to accept you to declare as the only country you have that have already covered everything. Everything is in USD declared. Everything you want is there. The time that Catalonia started their own, till today, they never achieved their own country fully. I want us to be looking at other people's sides. That is why I always hear by bringing all this history out, so you know that USB is on the lifeline and we're on the right track, as you can see. The situation of Catalonia following an authorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested. Of who? Of this Catalonia. Many. And as many was arrested, does it mean that UN has come to answer them? The answer is no. As many was being kidnapped, many was being buried. I said, does it mean that UN has come to organize them as a nation?
The AU often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations, severe conflict, or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar cases? Looking at major historical conflicts involving imprisoned leaders and independence movements shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroon.
Are you listening?
The situation. In 2019, Sisiku Julius Ayuk Tabe, leader of the movement in exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict. UN-EU per astronomical unit action, the UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum because the central government of Cameroon did not consent to one, and no binding UN Security Council resolution was passed. Case 2, Catalonia, Spain. The situation. Following an unauthorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, ranging up to 13 years by Spanish courts. UN-EU action. The European Union treated the issue strictly as an internal domestic matter under Spain's constitution. The EU did not call for a referendum, nor did it intervene in the judicial sentences. Case 3, South Sudan, 2011.
I hope you listen to the case of Catalonia. Our case is peculiar. Our case is different. Why are you reading us history? Why are you telling us this? Is the only way to achieve Biafra as a country. The same thing with Eritrea. You are right, Jerry. Jerry Kenneth, you are right. No, I just want to play these three for the Okoko, the IPOB, the organization. They don't know their left from their right, how to restore Biafra as a country. Oh, IPOB. The only thing that to restore Biafra for them is IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. That is where he end though. Also, that we must conduct referendum. The criteria of referendum, do you meet anyone? The answer is no. And in the say, Madiko Bakia, Ebakia Ruho. Where you are cut, you are according to your size. Any petition being signed by an IPOB, sent to UN, EU, AU. Once the person left, they trash it because it is coming from organization. And this group and these organizations, the law prohibits them to interfere. And this is why Mazen can still remain. Do you think that if UN has the power to Mazen out, it could have still be there? If they have put themselves to referendum, they have done it since over all these years. You never knew something. What you don't know is bigger than you. What I don't know is bigger than me. But I want us to look at it here today. As we are hearing it, it happens somewhere. EU, AU, action. The European Union treaties, they issue strictly as an internal domestic matter. Under Spain, under Cameroon, they treat all this matter. IPOB, self-referendum. They said that the UN, international community, they treated it as what? As internal matter of Cameroon. Catalonia, their case was also treated as what? As internal matter of what? Of Spain. Despite being exiled. That is how the UN look at everything that's happening to us as the Biafran people. Now, tell me how our case is different and our case is peculiar. It is different and peculiar because of what? We have never been on the line that we correct all the mistakes and put us on a right track under the international law and norms and protocol. The only way to achieve Biafra as a nation. The only way to restore this lost nation, they refuse to adhere towards that. Now, what of the case of South Sudan, 2011 of yesterday, East Timor, 1999? And how all these things happens is what we have to learn. And now that we are on the first step, what was the first step? The transition to government in exile. What is the second step? The peaceful redeclaration. What is the third step? The sign of the document of the 29th November 2024 in Helsinki, that's Finland. Like Mommy Margaret is there, first and second. Wanda Flora Kubilo was there, first and second. It's those that made it possible for us, that the UN. Now, let me tell you, believe it or doubt it, if USB today petition UN, they will answer without wasting time. If USB today petition because of what? The legal process is why they will answer. The backup, the standing on the law of the USB, that IPOB lack all the international territorial integrity law, how to restore Biafra as a nation, and they do not have anything. It's not about making noise on the street. Once we can make the noise, God did not come. UN never called for anything. And we are still waiting for them. You cannot, you will be doing one thing for over 50-something years. You can't change the movement and say, okay, let us try this the other way around. And the world is changing their games and their plans. You refuse to change your own. Look at this of South Sudan. The situation, both territories experience a very several military conflicts, human rights abuse, and arrest targeting of independent leader over decades. Are you hearing it for Sudan? For South Sudan? For South Sudan? Even though that they are facing a very severe military conquest or conflict, UN has never come. They did not do anything. They remain and see it as internal matter of Sudan. They see it what as internal matter of Sudan. They want to remove our case from the internal matter of Nigeria. It is government in exile of Simon Ebanjoko that will issue a peaceful redeclaration with the name and title United States of Biafra. That is only way out. That is what we have. That is why we can raise our voice. I want to understand clearly why you don't have to associate with IPOB organization. For those who fall deep, falling by the side, doesn't concern us. However, the referendum happened. Listen, you in both cases, the referendum were not automatically targeted by the arrested leader or human rights violation alone. Instead, years of international diplomatic pressure, not international human rights abuse. They are kidnapping Biafrans, they are buying us. So those things are formality made stories in the eyes of international law. They believe in a diplomatic pressure, which is documented, pen and paper. This is what we're talking about here. Only two governments in exile can do it. No other one. Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. Owazurike and his men collected money as they like. They dumped the movement. They javum ni mafia. In the IPOB with mercenary with all the genuine intention to restore this nation, to end our suffering. Why that those surrendered to him, let them of IPOB, they never meant well. They see it as a business, as an Igbo man, because every Igbo man see any opportunity as time for business. Waiting as a world, Kenguru Agudem comes out. Today they have become popular people. And what are them today? They abandoned the movement. Do you also know that the message was never choose them? And when the message you find those that will deliver the message dump the messenger and fly away to those who will accept me and deliver the message where the message was. You had it here that even in the case of South Sudan, despite heavily military conflict, that the world, the UN will never automatically targeted because of the arrested leaders, because of the military is arresting them, because the military is killing them, the military, for that reason, the UN has come to persuade Sudan to accept what? To accept referendum. They said no. They said years of international diplomatic pressure, complying the hosting state, South Sudan and Indonesia, representatively to sign a formal peace accord. Do you know that that Indonesia was part of the first country that South Sudan signed peace accord with, that triggers them to UN to come? So if our DPM decide tomorrow, okay, let me go through the UN. What you need to do is to just get one country signed what? Sign peace accord of treaty, like Sudan signed in their own time. and immediately she signed it, the matter has ended. Today, the question, and those who is claiming that UN will come and do this and that for them, Biafrans, are we answering those questions fully? Are we answering these questions? Do you think that the program really answered the question this night? That UN can never answer all this safely here. You had the answer Sudan. They did not answer organization in Sudan. When they answer UN, when UN answered Namibia, they answered Namibia with the name Republic of Namibia, no longer SWAPO. That is how it is. All these things is existing protocol we have to follow. It's not about what I think, how I feel, what I know, what I don't know. It's about what is holding us. And USB has break every cage that is holding us. E.g. South Sudan 2005, Comprehensive Peace Agreement, and the May 5th, 1990, when New York Agreement for East Timor, which essentially provide for UN mentioned referendum. Are you hearing it? You see how this movement work? Diplomatic pressure through the document of your redeclaration of this lost nation. They will answer. They must answer. You see, honestly, with this research, I have come to know a lot of things that is only this government we are in. That is why I'm smiling whenever I'm doing my program. When I say I've been on the right track after you already declared. Summary of this. Why the imprisonment of executive leaders and the documented violence against a civil population creates a strong international diplomatic pressure, and the human rights cases, the UN not legally force the EU and AUO to conduct a referendum. Are you hearing it? An international supervised referendum only become possible when international domestic pressure led to entity either in exile, a building of Security Council relation, or a single political agreement, peace, according where the states is exercise physical control over their territory. Are you hearing it? Now that Nigeria is controlling our territory, what do we do? That is why they said you have to warn in paper first before you warn in the homeland. We're not going to be too long on this program, so as I'm playing the video, if you want to join us, please look at the link. If you want to join us, if you'll be able to join us, that is the link on the comment section so you can see. Oh, Faith, you are here. Faith Media, thank you so much. Thank you. That is the link there. So I will play the video again. Then after the video, I will play this audio again. So cut the program and send to the man who asked question and who put a challenge that I have answered, and I challenge him to come out and condone the stupidity that he's claiming that he's doing. After he said if we'll be able to produce one, that he would do this for his protest. So let him come out. We need him now. So please, there is a link there. If you want to join us, you are free to join us as we proceed. So listen to let us play the video again. And after that, I play the Please 1 minute. What is your problem now? Move. I want the video to play, and I will play the audio. So in case you want to join me, please endeavor to do that, because the program, I don't want to last more than 2 hours. Oh God, move. I don't want you to play like this. You will give me copyright. You think that Biafras is going by Shalom, children of Israel? You don't know you don't even call your grandfather of Israel.
We have a message to pass to the world from our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi, the Hamadique of Africa. Shalom. I have one talk of Jim.
Just name on. Name on, only man defend the one. In a morning, man defend the one. I am here to teach all of you lesson that all of you will never forget in a hurry.
We are standing in loyalty, in respect to our leader. I want everybody to stand up to the end of this speech. Shalom. Our supreme leader is in prison. And for that, we owe him that respect to stand up and listen to his message. Message to the people in government. He is a leader of over 80 million Biafras all over the world. And his words are supreme. His words are well. What did I say? Yes. He's the only leader we know in Biafra land. Those anywhere the latest group of people that call themselves politicians, we are not with them. Shalom. We don't care on what they do. We are not here for stomach infrastructure business. We are not here.
That is what we are doing.
To maintain safety for Fulani, no one allows us to maintain our fast. Shalom. As far as our leader is in Sokoto, we are not in Sokoto. Shalom. I beg Nigeria to do anything against our leader. The killing in that Biafra will come tomorrow. Are you hearing me? They cannot threaten us. They cannot do us.
Here.
We are indigenous people of Biafra. This land is given to us for Almighty God. Our forefathers inherited this land. Therefore, Fulani from over 1,000 kilometers away from where we are.
Story.
Yoruba from over
If not USB, Obrok was on a village.
Hausa and Yakov from 1,000 kilometers away from where we are. Cannot pretend for us how we will live. We have right to freedom. Freedom is our right. Both locally and internationally, we have rights for what? And nobody, born of woman and earth, will detect from us how we will live. Reference to have not done anything to these people. They took our gas, they took our crude oil, they took our gold, they took our silver, they took our silver, they also took our limestone and coal. We never discounted. We don't have army. We don't have police. We don't have we don't have weapons. Yet they recruited criminals. They recruited terrorists. Both of these guys, all the parents in our land today, the problem are occupied by criminals. Terrorists. They kill our people anyhow. I said nobody will talk. We talk, we will die. We don't talk, we will die. Shalom. Our supreme leader ordered us that every unit must go back to meeting.
Ndohi, criminals.
Every unit must go out.
Going back from square one. I don't know about UN. Ndohi.
Our supreme leader has instructed us that the referendum we are going to do with the
Here.
EU, AU, and UN. Shalom. And the referendum will be conducted in one time of that by all the citizens. Where all the citizens will participate. Shalom. Let me tell you, Biafras. You see that government that is existing in the food.
Because no longer a governor. Egu. Okoko.
That you will see it when you close the we are not part of it. If you can convince me by telling me any country in the world as a sovereign nation that their ministers and prime minister are dwelling in 6 other continents in the world, you mention one, we will drop our decision.
I have mentioned 4 for you.
We are not part of the
And I also put that UN cannot come. The name of organization, IPOB.
we are under one compulsion for our leader. That we decide how they will govern themselves. Are you not doing this? The people will decide who will not govern them. As it was done over African countries.
Yeah. Onye ekwu ya otu a iche na ọmụ ihe ọ na-ekwu and ndị otu ya ga-agafụ bụ ụzọ kọta ebe iwu jere na-ekwetị ya chena mmadụ na-ekwu. Let me welcome my senior Dadio. The Lucian one God, please have the mic. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, Chino.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much because that man no na no we onye awukwa amam ihe onye awu deputy before who governor or deputy. Amam owo from Hamadike because amam and may recognize this man by set to case with DPM with them.
From Hamadike. Yes.
Yes, last almost the whole day.
Yes.
This man refused to work with the governor. Even all kind of that, not sabotage. So, but the point is, yes, I remember this man. We have no clue Amamota gets with a video send that go week because in your 4 evidence. 4 of the evidence in now. I hope not going to this message. Go week gas week. Pushing on it, in our program can handle the war. I didn't did that grief to hang up broha. Yeah, that program. I went the way we get for anything, hang up quarter. But the thing, like I said here before, we are not longer afraid. I am a go with the statistics. I'm going to born. And again,
yes.
I want to hear in Finland today.
Yeah.
We have honorable Adogro.
Oh, yeah.
And I say, people need to take ownership. To hear Nama Hungano plan or here Aqueseri may happen. All marking here Hamage, a lot of people Chorega Gazin. And as I told him so, this is the problem I'm gonna now the IPOB in the Beriba. In this season. Even a born at United Nations. What a shame. You and Okpobe ECOWAS. Okpobe ECOWAS. ECOWAS nọ ya n'azụ ụlọ ya ọwụ United Nations na-amahụ na ọ na-emezi na ana m ajụ people mgbe nna edetu ihe ọbata obie o nwere kedu ihe ndị a hụrụ na this name having known na IPOB just basically an ethnic name, ethnic coloration, indigenous people. Any nation, ama m ebe ahụ ibi, enwe ndị ụdịrị indigenous people.
Yes,
Nailand, enwe ndị ụdị, ha sụọ English ga anụ ha. Here we call indigenous people of here. Elezi ihe edifile na anybody ga-egwara ha as indigenous IPOB were nye ha Biafra. Nna biko, Chinasị mma ajọ gị biko. Ndị Igbo mazikwa ihe. No. Esi got you. Nna ndị Igbo ha mazikwa ihe. So, my brother, ana m ege ihe since, but na-ele this man, echetere m ihe na this man mere. Almost 8 hours, Chino. Called DPM akụrụ battle with this man. Ihe ewepụ. Ya jụ na ya agaghị anụ with the governor ha. I say okay. Isi gaghị anụ ya, ngwanụ hapụnụ. Kemgbe ahụ, the man na-ebugharị propaganda na-amarị. But let me, my only anger, ihe ha na-eme wụ, ime ihe na Ambazonia. Ị gaghị enwe ọchịchị nọ.
Yes.
Ihe ndị ekwu ihe awụ ndị be anyị na-eme ihe because there is no consequences. And anyị na-emekene ka anyị nweta recognition which we are going to get. But these people ebido treat men nonsense ha. Ihe hụrụ ọ na-eme na enyi na-enye ego na the new IPOB according to them na akpọrọla ya. Were ego nye ya. Ọ ihe hụrụ omega ihe ha gbakwana gị ego nwa tachira ga-enye ya na you will not believe it. Ihe ewu this man nna ọkwa na meeting ka a matara na this governor na USB na-enyekwa ha ezigbo ego Chino.
Now.
I am telling you that day ọ shọkụrụ m all these governors mgba gị ego ole ndị a na-receive you can't believe it. Believe me. That day you ask him kemgbe aka m ji cool down mmadụ nọkọta asị Dr. Abeze ego niile anaghị m ego ihe ndị a because eji m ntị m jee anya m nụrụ akpụ ahụ ego but lene nga ọ nọ na-ezuzugharị na IPOB one family Shalom.
Shalom, ụmụ Biafra, shalom, ụmụ Israel, shalom, ụmụ Isaac, shalom, ụmụ Jacob.
Ndị a dị laughable, ndị a dị egwu. Ebe ọ na-eti shalom, ịjụ ihe shalom mean ugbu a. So my brother, carry the go. We dey. Ahụbụrụ m ihe a, but ma anọghị m ya. Anaghị moto ọrụ. And the motor self, the man lakwara ọgbọ m bịa buru moto m. Achegide m megama n'ọfịs the man agbachien. So anọ m ọrụ echi very early in the morning and I'm eji ụkwa. God knows all the close to my house anyway. So my brother, thank you so much. Ihe na-anọ here, adịghị gị na big screen na here, but man ichi ukwu okwu ị ga na phone.
Yes.
So jisike anọ m here I'm listening. Look, I bịa na-ege gị ihe na-eji be ha itinye ọnụ ahụhụ because ihe niile ịkọga o doro anyị anya. Anyị esoghị na ndị IPOB one family. IPOB wetter than snow. Our supreme leader say, nah, I gotta go that level. Ndewo.
Thank you so much. We have passed that level. Now, on about UN, and ask me, I can walk here na UN enwe mgbe o ji abịa ezi ya. Mgbese after today, I was the only those that you are saying, this is only those who we called us and who we come. Those who that he said that they are going to petition us before we will come. They don't UN through what? Through a diplomatic pressure. Pen and paper. In your no here name or diplomatic pressure. Is it a diplomatic pressure? The answer is no. This is what they call, that they said, lack of history leads to stupidity. From stupidity leads to ignorance of the law. That is not an excuse in the eyes of the law. Ọ nọkwa na-akpọ IPOB, na-akpọ IPOB, ọ na-eti UN. UN lecture anya ọsị onye iberibe, go and read law. That is why Mazi Kanu, after all he said, that some document or where go and be doing something. Mazi, have the mic. I see your mic is open somehow. If you want to say something, you are free, because I want to remove the speaker from where I put it to where we can hear.
If you actually put the name, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we Iberiberism.
Iberiberism, yes.
Iberiberism. I think this is Iberiberism.
Yes.
No.
Thank you. Let's listen to the message from those that he's calling UN, EU, and AU. These three that they are mentioning. That our leader said that they will come and conduct referendum. Onye Ebragi in a boat pan Africa now can go to the Quagan and Bazonia. Not today, no matter what Bazonia, and the UN Abia Beza. EU, my bingo.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians
I hope
being
you are hearing
killed.
Okoko.
1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU, often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations. Severe conflict or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar cases? Looking at major historical conflicts involving imprisoned leaders and independence movements shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroons, Cameroon. The situation. In 2019, Sisiku Julius Ayuk Tabe, leader of the movement in exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict.
Like and share.
UN, EU per astronomical
Like and share. That is only how he got the message. When you like the program, you share the program. That is how they're going to get the message. That's why I urge you to like and share, subscribe on our page if you never do so. Because this is only how they got this message. That is a challenge he threw out our DPM. Ngozi Arabeze, that country, when you open phone, you see it. When he was the deputy governor for he came back. He was not, when the government was paying him money, it's not Ngozi Arabeze that government in the phone or Zoom. That when you close phone, the government will close. But today, the IPOB has given him money. He comes out with his gullible to come and talk trash. Claiming what they don't. That is one problem with IPOB. When we in IPOB, we claim we know law. When we know nothing, we are acting under this lack of history that made us look stupidity in the eyes of international law. That is not an excuse.
Action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum, because the central government of Cameroon did not consent to one, and no binding UN Security Council resolution was passed. Case 2, Catalonia, Spain. The situation: following an unauthorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, ranging up to 13 years by Spanish courts. UN-EU action: the European Union treated the issue strictly as an internal domestic matter under Spain's constitution. The EU did not call for a referendum, nor did it intervene in the judicial sentences.
You
Case
heard
3.
the word that the EU did not call for referendum. And that in the whole world, never anywhere UN can call for it. There is things that will trigger them to come, and it depends on us. By tomorrow, you will see the legal standing that is only USB is the only way UN can even thinking of remembering us, and they will come through the petition from the diplomatic pressure, from a document from government in exile that is legal, the only way to achieve or to restore a lost nation.
South Sudan 2011 and East Timor 1999. The situation: both territories experienced severe military conflict, human rights abuses, and the arrest/targeting of independence leaders over decades. How the referendum happened. In both cases, the referendums were not automatically triggered by the arrests of leaders or human rights violations alone. Instead, years of international diplomatic pressure compelled the host states, Sudan and Indonesia respectively, to sign formal peace accords, e.g., Sudan's 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the May 5, 1999 New York Agreement for East Timor, which explicitly provided for a UN-monitored referendum. Summary: while the imprisonment of executive leaders and documented violence against a civilian population creates strong international diplomatic pressure in human rights cases, they do not legally force the UN, EU, or AU to conduct a referendum. An internationally supervised referendum only becomes possible when international diplomatic pressure leads to either a binding UN Security Council resolution or a signed political agreement/peace accord where the state exercising physical control over the territory consents to the vote.
I hope you have listened what the law told us, that UN does not have the legal right, that even law prohibit them to force Nigeria to accept referendum, that as we are into organization, they will never answer us at all. By tomorrow, I'm also going to be playing the same video and proving to the man that those he want them to go back to their unit to start meeting, contributing money, is not how UN will come. That UN can only come through usually declared. That's only how UN will come. Without usually declared, UN is not coming anyway. If US decide tomorrow, they will petition them, like the way the document of USB is making headway all over the countries in the world. You hear that word, that UN has never automatically, that they lack the authority to call for referendum for any country, for any organization to say, okay, your organization, you have been here for 10 years with your protest name of organization, your leaders has been arrested. On that reason, please, I want to conduct referendum for you. It never happened before. It never happened before, and it can never happen. When we are trying to give you information, we give you the evidence at hand. Yes, Maz, good evening from here. Can we? You want to talk to Biafras?
Yes.
Okay, go on. Yes.
From here.
Hey, your voice is cracking, Maz.
Can we?
Your voice is cracking.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
Just say what. Let me know if it's better now.
Your voice is cracking, Maz. Your voice is cracking.
Sorry. No. We can't hear you, Maz.
Just stay with it. It's better now.
Shy. Miles, we can't hear you because of the network. We can't hear you because of network.
I got in our by all the clothes. My way of pitching with my lab. At the time, this.
So, my fellow Biafrans, I hope we have answered his question. And we are answering the question to all of them who are claiming I was once a member of IP, old taker of IPOB that took an oath. But I always pray to God that I want to be on a right track when it comes to the Biafra movement. That is always my prayer to Chukwuka. So, do not panic. Support the protests in Finland on behalf of Obato. You see how all the noise, the protest has been ended. When you go to a Finland, you must obey the law. The same thing going to the court on day of a court today. They tell that it's those who organize it will select those who if they can be the one to select those who go to enter the court proceeding. They're supposed to also be the one to select, oh, you will not protest in Finland. You are not welcome here. You see, they are just making noise for nothing. The same way IPOB is making their noise. And USB remains silent and be doing their job. You know that the best answer to a fool is silent. That is silent our DPM is going to all of them. So that is why they are all mad and crazy. Because of what? DPM, the government is maintaining the status quo of war, the status of war, the government. So today, we have answered you that UN is not coming. Then after this, tomorrow, we are going to answer you. Next tomorrow, answer you more and more to establish the fact up to 5 steady program to trash you and all your nonsense. So we know that before that 5 we end, you must got one of them. You must get one of the answer. I will have also give you example of Amazonia. We give example of South Sudan 2005. We give you example of Catalonia. These are those that the leader was in exile. All of them. And South Sudan, they was in exile until they pressurized UN through a long time diplomatic pressure, which is a document from the government in exile that issue official declaration. Like our own case, really clear of our lost nation, what it is. So I want Biafrans that are listening this evening. I hope I ask this question as I play the audio for last time again. I hope that we have answered the question. Do we answer the question perfectly, my people? Faith, I see you. Jerry, I see you. Continue commenting. Thank you so much. So please, do we answer the question with example of where all he's been looking for has happened? I will play 2 audio. I will play the audio to show him where a government in exile is the only way to achieve a lost nation. So after playing, I will also play this one at last, and they will end the program. Thank you so much. Oh, Triple M onye nke m. Triple M, ịbatako n'ọgbọ. Triple M dewo nke na Amaji Chigozie. I see all the Biafrans in the comment section. But I also recommended those who are always here with us. So let us play this audio again of countries in Africa, in Europe. He asked our DPM that our DPM should show him one country in Africa that is their prime minister and all the Canadian members was in exile. That was how they got to their country. I hope you had it from the audio, from his video voice, where he asked that question. And he also said that it's only that IPOB will go back to their meeting and the UN will come and conduct self-referendum and conduct referendum for them to have Biafra as a nation. Our brother is trying to enter. Let's know if network will allow you. So let me play it once again so you can be able to understand it. And never mind those criminals, those hijackers, those okokondem. Sorry, those Eflef, because okokondem is a real son of Biafra. Listen to this as we are answering the question this evening, because my DPM is too busy to answer this. Yes, Mazi, you try to enter. Good evening from here. Please have the mic. Let's see if mic and network will allow you. Mazi, go on. Mazi, can you? We can't hear you. Okay. We can't hear your voice. We only hear the noise from your background, but we're not hearing your voice, Mazi.
I think I'm doing me. He's just saying
We can't hear you, Mazi. We can't hear you. Your mic is open.
Body pain. Because no, only body pain.
In public international law and diplomatic history, government in exile is a political group that claims to be a country's legitimate governing authority and is unable to exercise legal power within state. When an entire executive structure, including the president, prime minister, and cabinet members, operates from abroad and issues peaceful redeclarations of state sovereignty or continuity, their ability to gain international recognition relies heavily on diplomatic relations with host states, multilateral organizations such as the African Union or European bodies, and historic principles of legal non-recognition, ex injuria jus non oritur. Key historical examples. 1. The Estonian government in exile, 1940 to 1992. Structure and location. Following the Soviet occupation of Estonia, the constitutional executive structure, led by the acting president, prime minister in exile and cabinet, was established abroad, primarily in Oslo, Norway, and Stockholm, Sweden. Peaceful redeclarations. The government in exile continuously published peaceful declarations maintaining the legal continuity, de jure, of the Republic of Estonia under the 1938 Constitution. Recognition, Europe and global. Major European powers, including the UK, France, and West Germany, and the US maintained policy decisions enforcing the non-recognition of Soviet annexation, recognizing Estonian diplomatic representations continuously until independence was restored in 1991-1992. 2. Polish government in exile, 1939 to 1990. Structure and location. Headquartered in London, United Kingdom after the 1939 invasion. It preserved a complete executive branch, President, Prime Minister, and Council of Ministers. Declarations and recognition. Issued declarations asserting Polish legal continuity and peaceful democratic governance. It enjoyed widespread international recognition across Europe and Africa during World War II, and preserved recognition from several sovereign states for decades after the war, until transferring its legal insignias to the newly elected Polish president in 1990. 3. Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, 1958 to 1962. Structure and location. Formed in Cairo, Egypt, and later based in Tunis, Tunisia, with a designated president, Fahad Abbas, later Ben Youssef Ben Khedr, and executive ministers. Peaceful proclamations and diplomacy. While representing a liberation struggle, the GPRA issued formal political declarations outlining a peaceful transitional path to statehood and international engagement. Recognition, Africa and beyond, received immediate official diplomatic recognition from numerous African nations, the Arab League, and Asian states, establishing precedent for exiled executive bodies securing recognition prior to full territorial control. 4. Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, Executive, Flash Polisario, 1976, present. Structure and location. The executive branch, including the President, Prime Minister, and Council of Ministers, operates largely out of exile from the Tindouf camps in Algeria. Declarations and recognition, Africa. the SADR issued its peaceful re-declarations of sovereignty and statehood, securing full diplomatic recognition from the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1982, and gaining full membership in the African Union, AU. Over 80 nations globally, primarily in Africa and Latin America, have extended diplomatic recognition at various points. Core criteria for exiled governments securing recognition requirement, description, constitutional continuity, demonstrating a legal link to the previous constitutional order, e.g. elected president, prime minister, host state support, securing sovereign consent and legal immunity within the host nation where the cabinet resides, diplomatic engagement, maintaining legations, issuing formal declarations, and participating in bilateral or multilateral summits, e.g., AU or European forums. Principle of non-recognition. Foreign states relying on international norms against territorial conquest to recognize the exiled government over an occupying force. Would you like to explore a specific legal framework, such as the Montevideo Convention criteria or African Union legal protocols, regarding how exiled executive bodies maintain diplomatic relations today?
I hope you are listening. Those in the IPOB organization in the homeland who is asking for one country, you ask for one, I give you 4. I give you from those living in Europe. I give you from Africa where you reside, so you can learn your lesson in a hard way. And that was, you called UN. UN is an organized organization. They did not have power to come and command Nigeria, that they must accept referendum.
So you can
see, let's see if you can,
and that
hear
was
you.
Called UN organization. They did not have power to come and
unmute your mic, unmute and say something. Let's see if we can hear you.
Let's see if you can hear you.
I don't know what's wrong with
your mic.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all.
I don't know what's wrong with your mic. I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me? No, it's from your side. We can't hear you, but we are hearing background. Voice is echoing.
No, it's from your side. We can't hear what we're hearing background. Voice is echoing.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
There is no country in the world where the UN, EU, or AU automatically called for or forced an internationally supervised referendum simply because a leader was arrested, sentenced to life imprisonment, or because state violence occurred. Under public international law, the international community, UN, EU, AU, cannot force a referendum inside a nation solely as a legal consequence of a leader being jailed or civilians being killed. 1. Why no such automatic mechanism exists. International bodies operate under strict legal limits regarding state sovereignty. Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter. Sentencing of leaders. When a political or independence leader is arrested and given a life sentence, international bodies, such as the UN Human Rights Council, Amnesty International, or the AU, often issue formal condemnations, demand fair trials, or call for political dialogue. However, they do not have the legal authority to trigger an automatic referendum as a penalty against that state. Human rights violations. Severe conflict or state violence often triggers international sanctions, peacekeeping deployments, or legal investigations by the International Criminal Court, ICC. However, organizing a referendum requires either a UN Security Council resolution or a signed multilateral peace treaty involving the state in control. 2. Real-world precedents. What actually happened in similar cases, looking at major historical conflicts involving imprisoned leaders and independence movements, shows how international law was applied in practice. Case 1. Ambazonia/Southern Cameroons, Cameroon. The situation. In 2019, Sisiku Julius Ayuk Tabe, leader of the movement in exile, and 9 cabinet members were arrested in Nigeria, extradited to Cameroon, tried in a military tribunal, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Civilians suffered heavily during the ongoing Anglophone conflict. UN-EU per astronomical unit action. The UN, EU, and AU repeatedly condemned the violence, called for an immediate ceasefire, and urged inclusive political dialogue. However, no international body called for or forced a binding referendum because the central government of Cameroon did not consent to one, and no binding UN Security Council resolution was passed. Case 2, Catalonia, Spain. The situation: following an unauthorized 2017 referendum, several top political leaders were arrested, tried, and sentenced to heavy prison terms, ranging up to 13 years by Spanish courts. UN-EU action. The European Union treated the issue strictly as an internal domestic matter under Spain's constitution. The EU did not call for a referendum, nor did it intervene in the judicial sentences. Case 3, South Sudan, 2011, and East Timor, 1999. The situation: both territories experienced severe military conflict, human rights abuses, and the arrest/targeting of independence leaders over decades. How the referendum happened. In both cases, the referendums were not automatically triggered by the arrests of leaders or human rights violations alone. Instead, years of international diplomatic pressure compelled the host states, Sudan and Indonesia respectively, to sign formal peace accords, e.g., Sudan's 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the May 5, 1999 New York Agreements for East Timor, which explicitly provided for a UN-monitored referendum. Summary: while the imprisonment of executive leaders and documented violence against a civilian population creates strong international diplomatic pressure in human rights cases, they do not legally force the UN, EU, or AU to conduct a referendum. An internationally supervised referendum only becomes possible when international diplomatic pressure leads to either a binding UN Security Council resolution or a signed political agreement/peace accord where the state exercising physical control over the territory consents to the vote.
Triple M, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Have the mic.
All right, thank you so much, my brother. Biafra TV, don't drink one name, you have taught us a lot. My people at the comment section, I greet each and every one of you for standing strong. We are talking to the my greeting goes to the real people, real Biafran people. The real ones. Now we need to separate the wheat from the chaff. Gone are the days I gonna your mother. I didn't come in to say much anyway. Here no now, bo. Here onye bịa jọga ajụjụ onye jụrụ gị ajụjụ a ma mmebe ịgbọnọ jọga ma na platform a ma ọwụ
okay, onwe video adịghị ebe ị na-afụ. Okay, get her the video. One of the former deputy governor from Ikemba or somewhere in Old Anambra, the government, that man lead the protest in our DPM or 90 days to come back.
Keep riba.
Yeah, so he asked a question. Go back to IPOB.
Don't worry, I remember him. And you see, in answering that question now, nda wundis na hand eso mazin nandekano. As a freedom fighter, Mazin Kale made it known to us. Freedom fighter were 3 places to be. 1, grave. 2, exile. 3, prison.
Prison, yeah.
These are 3 places. Now, now I sabuku this thing before. Ihe chose manaka ha na awo ogbe ihe ha mega now man that group must spam also hanya a country today sovereign nation OG group now rule nation just one. I actually 2 or 3 one only one just one. Yeah, well, but
the Kanye is there 100 government in exile broke out.
Yes, even you see, I don't know if I will call it ignorant. Amracha legwa soke ama legwa arala. Emanagi were phone gi Google law normal okwa nke ga kwụ ụgwọ ka wụ normal data ka ọ ga-ewere na Google ordinary Google ọwụkwa chat GPT ọkwa here no ka wụ normal Google. See how Joya KKC, how freedom, how to get a new country, a fight for a new country. Emanaga Segi, he gave it with the government in SIO.
Yes, now.
I am our first step. chikoto we go no chikoto one now we have group first to get yourself together, then give for more government in exile. Give for more government in exile. The next thing we give chikoto one no kwerikota when kwerikota how we have referendum.
Oh yeah, one referendum.
Then no obigbenga ho. You need to declare. You need to declare. All pronunciation call before you declare. Before you pronounce it, your people declare. Mbojuku say ayalala. Ojuku just say ayalala. Aya was in Nigeria. Are we yokuru?
Mba now.
He took a bold step.
Yes.
And the reason some people have behind say declare. Ele declare. Ojuku declared before. One Nka Ojuku declare failed. Effiong returned it back to Nigeria. Oya Butre, no victor, no vanquished. Mana Abraham na Juzi, our forefathers. Mbaha Barono si no victor, no vanquished. Biazi ego n'umwe. No 20 pounds. It doesn't matter ego limre. Mbaha no victor, no vanquished.
Mba now, Mary.
Then why shouting no victor, no vanquished and hey the last move on. We really cleared because Biafra has been in existence. All will go a country. Ojuku declare
continuation of the from old to the new. Continuation.
That is it. Even Gina Jukwa go now. How can we clear to you? See, yes, that now Aubeham a recognized sovereignty. Yes. Man, I go do. I get the main internal recognition. When they recognize Hana get recognize her. I want get abaga hagi put no wahagi on your black waggy. Oh, yeah.
Now, so it be.
Hana who don't recognize them. How many countries? Nguma wonye onye that in wuke ya. He recognize the here. You know, just say a chicken does recognize Aya. Me put it. Anyway, I see you walk on your timpuka. Oh, Hanoli, I work at here higher. I got my happiness, wo constitution na in public domain. Ko happy we chi. I be koku mame bere di be kwento na o bere mame bere ga nwo.
Mama bere anwo go dey kwento onwo go.
No, ihe je kunya na wo maka grace. Door grace ka dey open. O he just na mame bere ka dey ndo because onye obla turn na lota back support or push we na support oga ha eso ndị ga-aba na court of no appeal maka ị ga-egwe na even
and I get kwa egwu na normal boys protest nke ahụ mma na aga state to state na eme introduce my dem ha ga kwụ na eme every state
onwe ya wa PM na-ekwu people don't understand though. Our PM say that na mgbe a na-prepare constitution anyị also na I got constitution and got the brutal than that of North Korea or South Korea constitution.
North Korea.
No, now all got the brutal than North Korea constitution. Maka even with the North Korea constitution with the different constitution. Jako yo no nanka ya woteze ihe mere anyị ndị Igbo tizie ya n'ime. Maka ọsọ buru ihu ga-agba azụ. Achọghị m ikwu too much. Obi ụtọ nne agba ma na-adọ ndị ezinụlọ m na-adọ ndị family m sa lekwe na ohilekwe ha esekwe m na-agba maka echi agakwa m abịa sị maka iwu nwanne m ma support ihe bịa gị sị elotu ndị ga-eche eme ihe na Biafra agwara enwekwa onye m ga-agbatara akwụkwọ nwanne eruhu na nke ahụ maka ndị etipụra maka nwere onwe a Obraha na-ewe iwe. Even iwe ha na-ewe mgbe ha ka ga-ewe iwe ọfụma wụzi anyị lọtaghala na be anyị. Ndị agha fightere na mmiri na-ejighị nwụọ abịa pardon ha just like that. Ọ mgbe aka iwe ha ga-aka nkọ. Because many of them na-anwụ Their last statement now, I am dying because of Biafra. Go and get Biafra for me, for my spirit, for my spirit to rest. Gị wụrụ mmadụ aka ise iwu onye Biafra na-fight against ihe enwetegoro enwete ihe ọnụ na-achọ ka mgbe eri oge enwetezie ya na ọnụ nwasa onye wetara ya wụ ya kwesịrị ya weta ya ebere emegborela ụnụ maka nne ebere ka dị ndụ na anyị na-ewe the time ọ ga-efe aka. Thank you so much, my brother. I am a citizen of United States of Biafra and in Nigeria anyị na ha agbala ọnụ ya wit olu ọma na-akụ ya ka egwu na-ayọ ya ka ayụyọ yupụshu kparamgbomgbo li maka ọ gakwa dị brutal mgbe oge ruru. Thank you.
Biafrans, like I said, we are anything because of my time until we come back again tomorrow to prove to them the only one who has a legal standing to call to tell you, come here. We want you to voice our referendum. By tomorrow, we are going to list it out. Like I said, for 5 days now is to answer this one question with many multiple answers. So all of you can sit down. Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
in addition, yes,
yes.
Since no na-ebugharị flag holy a na-achọpụga ha USB akwọcha n'aka ISIS ọgaranya erigeri na ndị a na-ewetara na-ezuzugharị ama ha na that UN aha na-asụ maazị na can go and start doing something ha ji aka abụọ ọrụ dọkụmentị USB. Aghọtaghị ihe megere bụ isiokwu.
They don't know. They don't know. Thank you, Triple M. Let's close it from here. Biafrans, we will see again tomorrow at the same time. Tomorrow we might have a long hour to stay whenever we come tomorrow. So please watch out for the program. I thank you and I welcome you. From me, from here, good night.